either of those two counties.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
And just to confirm, we have over an hour-long line at 4 centers in Baltimore, across country, Edmondson, Southeast Anchor, and Camden Yards.
I mean, that's the report we have now. So again, we're still collecting all of that. And just want to just remind that even if there is a line, if you're in line at 8 o'clock, you will get to vote. So, and you know, as people come or they go to other locations, that might change. So just want to just caution that, you know, this is the data we have right now at 6:30. There's still time for things to change and to get voters through the line if voters start going to other vote centers in the city, because again, a voter can go to any voting location in the city or in the county where they live. So they're not tied to the one that's closest to them. So we have a lot more mobility this election than we historically do.
Charles, did you raise your hand? Okay, there it is. You can unmute yourself. There you go. Yep, we'll do it.
Let's go that. Can you hear me now? Sorry about that.
We can.
I wanted to know about how you're going to roll out the results this evening. Obviously, if people are still online, you're talking about now probably not getting materials out till 8 o'clock. Is that still the case?
So we're always planning to wait until all the vote centers close to start releasing results from early voting and mail-in ballots. So when the voting centers close just depends on when the lines have dissipated. So we'll be watching all of that and making sure that we're not releasing results before that happens. And then
can you give us a time frame? Because I think all of us are kind of like, we know you have totals and we know that you don't want to kind of muddy the waters, if you will, with people who are standing in line. Right now, you're talking about 4 centers in the city of Baltimore, 1 in Calvert. How will you know when those lines have cleared, or do you have a path forward for that?
So we are in constant contact with the local boards of elections, and that's how we know. I cannot give you a time estimate right now as to when we hope to release them, because it's going to depend on when those lines are cleared.
Nikki, you reported earlier 12,000 new voters registered during early voting. Do you have any sense of how many folks registered today?
I don't, but I can have that number for our 10 o'clock.
And any issues with cybersecurity that you're aware of?
No, we've been in close contact with our federal and state partners here on just sharing information and what other states are seeing. We're in a national situation room sharing that information. And so no issues that are of note.
I believe that is all of the, oh, there's one more. Gabe Cohen.
Yeah, hi, can you just quickly talk us through the process then of once the all polling locations have closed, my understanding is the actual vote totals will go back to the county precincts, the county headquarters, I should say. And then what's the process for you guys actually to release those totals? What has to happen?
So as the devices that have the vote totals on them come back to the local board of elections offices, they get loaded into a central database. And then those results are securely transferred to us to then be loaded on our website. And then it's a constant process. As they're loaded, they get pushed up and we update our website every 10 minutes. So I mentioned earlier that at some point this evening, when you go to our website, you will see the results page. And I think that might be the case now. Let me see. Yeah, if you go to our website now, it is the results page there. But as I said earlier, you can go back to our normal page. There's a link on the left side that says back to regular page. If you're looking for substantive information or other information about the election, you can still get there.
Am I correct in understanding memory sticks with all those vote totals are being transported after closing between the precincts and the county headquarters, county elections headquarters?
Yeah, the election, a bipartisan team of election officials drives the thumb drives from their vote center to the local board elections office.
Thank you.
One additional question from Jayne Miller. Jayne, make sure you're on mute.
Nikki, there you go. And Nikki, do you have any sense of, you've done now, this is like, but the 9th day of having these voting centers, which is for early voting, people are used to that. Am I correct? Because that's how early voting is done.
That's right.
But election day voting, people are kind of used to going down to the neighborhood school or whatever. So do you have any sense at this point whether the requirement that you had to do these larger voting centers because of the pandemic, et cetera, is having any impact on in-person voting?
I think it's too early for us to know. I think it's a good question, but it's too early for us to know any of that yet.
Thank you.
Do you expect to know today the number of mail-in ballots already counted?
No, not today.
Okay. Rita, you're giving a thumbs up. Is that a question or is
sorry.
that a good job?
Good job. And also, any indication as to whether we're going to have a repeat of this type of process? A lot of people liked it. You know, they got their paper ballots and they filled it in. They liked the drop box and they love the 8 days and even over the weekend of early voting. And they love the idea of being able to register and then fill in their ballot. Any indication that will continue in the future?
Well, some of that's already in place. So we've already had what we call no excuse voting or absentee voting, but no excuse mail-in voting. So any voter can vote by mail. We have purchased the ballot drop-off boxes, and so they are ours to continue to use. We have offered same-day registration during early voting before, and we've added same-day registration for election day. So those pieces are all now part of our election infrastructure and will continue. The concept of vote centers on election day is different and is authorized under the governor's proclamation in response to the pandemic. We always have 8 days of voting for early voting, and it always falls on a weekend. It's just the schedule this time was different, and again, in response to the pandemic. So what days of early voting we have and the concept of vote centers on election day are things that will not be permanent unless there's a change in the law.
Sarah Kim?
Hi, thank you so much for this update. I was just wondering if you have any follow-ups on the reports you discussed in the last press conference about attempts at voter suppression or voter intimidation. Do you have any updates on that by any chance?
So we haven't seen anything different since our last update. Again, the election judges at the particular centers are the first line of managing that, and nothing has been reported that's needed to be shared or escalated in any way.
Great, thank you.
Two additional questions on mail-in ballots. There are, the website has columns for mail-in ballots 1 and 2. Which of these is the Dropbox total?
Neither. So it's just those that have been counted. Mail-in ballots 1 will be, those results will that's where they'll appear tonight. And they will include ballots that were either returned or include ballots that were returned by mail as well as at the Dropbox. They're not broken down that way. 1 and 2 is just a question of when those ballots are going to be counted. 2 will be after election day, 1 will be before.
Okay, and then a follow-up is, do we know how many mail-in ballots have been counted, and will that be released tonight?
So the ones that have been counted will be released tonight. I do not know how many have been counted.
Is the 427,000 number the number of people who voted just today, or does it also include early voting and mail-in ballots?
So that number is just today. Our early voting numbers and the number of ballots that we've received, those numbers are on our website in our press room. So we have received over 1.3 million mail-in ballots back. They haven't all been counted, but that's how many we've received. And you can also see the turnout by day for early voting. It was well, the numbers on our website are just under 1 million. If you include the provisional voters, it's over 1 million. But the report on our website includes the number of people who cast a regular ballot during early voting.
Okay. There's an update from Linda Limon that the power at Digital Harbor has been restored. And there's some question actually as to whether it actually ever went out in the first place. So we'll learn more about that, I guess, as we go.
Yeah.
I don't see any additional questions. If there are none, we'll send out the link again. But again, 10 p.m. this evening, it'll be the same link, and we can all do this again. All right, Nikki, any final thoughts?
No, just importance of being in line at 8 o'clock, please. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody. Appreciate it.
Thank you.